Hi, it's Gadget UK here again, back for part 7 of the GBA 1000. This is one from Electroash coming up soon as well. A bunch of more 500 repairs as well. Anyway, in the previous video we got the GBA 1000 boot in. There was some stability issues. We fixed some of those in the last part. There was still a spurious interrupt issue. The serial ports weren't right. I think I mentioned that in part 6, or the serial power port. I noticed that a quick test revealed there was an issue. So just picking up, looking at the floppy drive, trying to work out how to get an LED, you know, because there's an LED on the front of the 1000, but there's no pin header on the board to drive the LED signal. If you ever wonder what that brown thing is there on these floppy drives, it's actually an LED socket. Yeah, so it enables me to, I'm just going to get a wire with a pin header, and I can route it on the underside here and feed that to my LED on the case. But if I just boot that now, watch the LED. There we go. It just saves me recreating the circuit with 2N3904, is it? And some resistors. It might be it might be an 06, I can't remember. But anyway, now I've worked that out, all I need to do is get a pin header with some wire on it. And in fact, I don't even need to do that. I just need a pin header. That's all I need, because I've got my connector already. So I just fitted a 2K2 resistor there. It's supposed to be something like 1K5 or something. I don't think it really matters, it's just a pull up or a pull down or something. This slot here is a Zorro slot, I think. It's like Zorro 1, it's not Zorro 2, you know, it's not fully wired for Zorro. The grounds are up that side. Just testing this, because I'm going to try it with a ripple in this slot. I don't know whether it'll work, because it might need the 28 MHz clock. Yes, the two grounds are there. So, yeah. What I'm trying to do, though, is determine whether that jumper's working. It boots now without a jumper. From the IDE. Previously you'd have to have the jumper on there to get the IDE, because this closes the auto-config chain. Now it should actually work with a ripple. I'll try and get this the right way around now. That goes that way, doesn't it? Which means, hang on, let's just test the grounds are there. I don't even trust myself if I've made that many mistakes in this series on this. So I just want to make sure. Double grounds there. Double grounds there, so it goes that way. Yeah, I think I just vaguely remember the ripple being different. It goes the opposite way around you think in terms of the side the components face on. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then these two here are not joined, are they? No, and those two are. Yeah. So let me just power that on. Make sure it doesn't go up in smoke. Yeah, no issues there. And then let's take this off and put this there. This provides power as well. Let's try that. Yeah, we've got the power LED there. It's just whether it needs the 28 MHz clock. I don't know. Bear in mind it's going to be looking at that IDE first if it was going to work. No, it's not done anything there. You can see that. And that's probably because it's either missing the 28 or... I was going to say, or there's something else there that it needs in terms of Zorro. Because this is not, like I say, a fully populated slot. I could try and disable that IDE, maybe these two are clashing. I'll disable the boot ROM there, because that's got its own LIDE ROM. Yeah, I think that's Liv 2's card. Or is it 4096 defective? Forget now. Yeah, so it doesn't work that way. Again, I'm just trying to remind myself of the other Zorro slot here, because let's just test that. That should be, is it ground to the bomb? Yeah, two grounds at the bottom. Yeah, which means it goes that way around, and I have recollections of being able to see the LED from this side. So anyway, let's just get in there. I'm just curious to see, is the ripple going to work? Because, well, I think it did at the start. Let's just unplug this Zorro thing now, and we'll enable the onboard IDE ROM as well. Let's see what happens with that. I'm not sure if it's just going to clash or what. Yeah, you see it's not booting. So actually, there is an issue. Is it the card? Because, yeah, I talked about this before as well. You can get loose connection on here. Oh, hang on a minute. It's because the slot here is terminated. Let's pull that off. Yeah, it flashed there. Yeah, so it's working from that slot, because obviously that's a fully configured Zorro 2 slot. I suspect it's going to be the 28 megahertz pin. That this is, you know, the slot on the front's missing. And that's booted. You can see that there, that's worked okay. So we'll test it on the front one more time just for good measure. And I only tested it a minute ago and I already have forgotten which way around that card goes. It's the problem though when you've got something like this that's not quite normal. Do you know what I mean? It's not 2000, is it? And we're not putting it front to back. You know, this is the thing these boards say, front and back on them. What is going on with these pins? Yeah, they say front and back on them. Where's the front, where's the back? Yeah, that's right, because we could see the LEDs. It's amazing what I will forget in the space of 5 minutes. There we go. So, we'll probably need to bridge the auto config over here again for the slot. That slot, that is. Yeah, we'll sort of give it one more try. I don't think that's going to work though, because I think it needs 28 megahertz. I mean, we could in theory just wire the 28 up and then that might work. Yeah, that's not booting, it's just bringing up the sticker disc in screen. And of course we've got this Zorro slot over here as well. Now this one apparently is fully wired. I think this one does have the 28, so this will be a good test. God, I hope I got that card in the right area now. It wouldn't make any sense to change it the other way, would it? It wouldn't. Switch it on. Yeah, LEDs are lighting normally. And it flashed. And it flashed. And it's booting. I think. Yay! So that's a good sign that as far as we understand our Zorro slots are working. A good use for the one at the front might be the SID card. So you know what, I might just stick a SID card in the front slot just to test that. But I think you'd be a wee bit crazy to have things like this on the side of your machine, you know, out the front, one there. We do have like a USB interface that I think you can stick in the front here. But again, I'm not sure whether it's got all the connections to support that actually. It might not be designed to go in the front of this, it's more just a Zorro slot for 2000 or 3000 or 4000, etc. really. Anyway, we know that works. I'll briefly show you the performance drop in a minute. There's not a lot of point at the moment in my scenario here, you know, the scenario here, of setting this to put the RAM in the 32-bit range into Zorro 3, effectively. So you can flash this, and I'll show you the thing you do it from the command line. You just double click on it, and that's it, it flashes it. You can erase it first, then flash it. You need this jumper in the left-hand position here to enable the flash, as far as I understand. And then when you flashed it, this jumper then becomes an optional thing for the one on the right here. You know, you can bridge the 2 pins there, and that's where it moves the RAM into the Zorro 3 range. It adds a 1 at the start, so it goes from 2 5-0s to 1 2 5-0s all the way up to 1 9 5Fs. Yeah, and then you need to use addmem, which you can get from Amiga in the command line in the startup sequence after maybe CPU and set patch, or maybe just before that, I don't know, to add the memory into the system. The problem there is because it's in the Zorro 3 area, it's no longer 24-bit DMA. You've not got the DMA capability. So actually it runs a lot worse actually. You know, the IDE drops from 2.5 meg-ish to 1.3 or 1.2 meg. So there's a noticeable difference there. Now in the documentation that comes with this, it does say that you can notice that drop in performance, and you can change the mask. If you go into each of the volumes using the you know, the partition tool, whatever it's called, the toolbox, HD toolbox, you can change the mask there, and I'm guessing you can alter that mask, and maybe it does a transfer that's wider or something that maybe gives you a bit more performance. I would guess maybe 1.6 meg. I don't know, I've not tried it. You might be looking, it might be 2 meg, but you've not got the 2.5 meg. And then when it comes to having booted up, I noticed the chip RAM had dropped from, you know, a lot of the 2 meg free right down to about 1.1 meg. And I'm like, where's all the chip RAM gone? And you go into sysinfo and it's loaded everything into chip RAM because it can't do that DMA, and it wants to do. It wants those things, the libraries, need to be fast accessed. Yeah? Well, when it's in Zorro 3 and you can't DMA, so that's not a good idea sticking libraries in there, is it? So yeah, this, you know, it's like a double-edged sword, really. Of course, things would balance out if you added a bit of Zorro 2 RAM. If I added some sort of card here to one of the expansions that would give us, I don't know, another 2 meg of 24-bit DMA, then that would be used for the libraries and things. And I'm not sure about the DMA of the drive. If the drive buffer might go into there, and you might find your hard drive runs a lot quicker again because you've got some Zorro 2. But if you're going to build the RTG card that goes with this, that uses 2 meg, doesn't it? So, and this is the issue, the complication with this, is you add the 2 meg, the 8 meg here in the 24-bit DMA is going to get cut in half by auto config. So you're going to end up with 4 meg of fast RAM and your RTG card, and 4 meg of it just unusable. It would have been a complication, but it may have made more sense to have 2 different banks of RAM here, like 4 meg of it in Zorro 2 and 4 meg of it, you know, you add with the addmem. You know, and alright, 8 meg's not a massive amount anyway, but generally it's enough to do everything you want to do on, you know, in terms of WHD load and stuff on a machine like this. So it's pretty good as things stand. But we do have this issue that when I add an RTG, the RAM's going to half. Yeah, that is a pain, an absolute pain. And of course you've got no other Zorro slots. What you might be able to do, well, this is the thing, you're probably only going to be able to have one DMA device, I would suspect, in the Zorro slot. I bet it's not implemented, you know, like all the stuff that Buster does in terms of arbitration with the different slot, you know, selection logic and what have you to allow multiple things to DMA. But the other thing we do have is an 060 card. It plugs into the 030 socket here. You know, you have some pins that go into the socket, and it sits in this area here and gives you an 060. And that's got, I think, 64 meg of RAM. It might be 32 meg, I don't know. And there was a 32 meg RAM module for this. I wish I could get one of those. I'd quite like to get that, maybe. It's another step up, but not having the 060. So it's a board, again, that goes into the CPU socket here. And I think it gives you 32 meg of RAM. It's for use with the 030. And obviously that's going to be in the Zorro 3 area. At least then when you lose half of your Zorro 2, when you add an RTG, at least you've still got 32 meg of Zorro 3 and some, you know, 4 meg of Zorro 2. So I quickly swapped over to an R6 500 because I want to test those chips. So these are the chips that were on this 500 originally. And you can see serial's alright. Let's test parallel. Hang on a minute. Why is parallel not right on this one now? Switch this off. Yeah, 2 and 3 are here. Oh, the wires broke. There we go. It's a mechanical failure, that is a mechanical failure. So, you know, as we're all pulling it in, pull it out, pulling it in, pulling it out, the wire was a bit tight there. So let me get a piece of Kynar. Right, after fixing that connection, let's test it now. Yay, parallel's alright. Yay, serial's alright. So the only other question is, does the 1489, it was originally on the 500 plus work as well? I'm hoping it does, and that means all of these serial parallel chips are alright, and so far we've had no failures at all, and all these errors are, well, down to the dongle and something else on the GBA. So this is the 1489 with a question mark that came from the A500 Plus that donated various parts to the GBA 1000. Switch it on. Hang on. Switch it on. Finger test it. Yeah, it's not getting hot. So what I'd love to see here is a total pass again on both ports. That's good. That's good. All chips are good. Right, GBA back on the bench. We need the chips in, don't we, though? So let me get 2 of those. It's probably around this time I realised I had the chips in the wrong sockets or something, I don't know. Anyway, the dongles are in the back, the chips are in the right sockets, pin 1 to the right on both, switch it on. Please God, let us have a good serial port, hang on, and a good parallel port. Look, serial port, we have an issue. 6, 8 and 22 aren't right. So that is weird. Parallel port. And we still have a problem with 2 and 3. No, we don't. We have 2 and 3 are alright. Everything else isn't. So I don't know. That is an anomaly on the ports with this. But you see, like the CIAs are alright. There's no issue with the CIAs here. Hang on. Timing wise, they're okay. And for everything else those CIAs do, everything is working. I've swapped them around, you get exactly the same behaviour even when they're swapped around. So, yeah, there is some sort of timing thing that means the way these tests have been done, they don't work properly on the GBA 1000. I'm not really understanding that at all. So, like pin 6, it's showing you there, it's not joined to 4 and 5. But I know it is. So, and similarly, 8 and 22 to 20. I mean, I can measure that on the board itself now to make sure those connections are physically there. Yeah, those ports must be the wrong way around. I can't see how they can't be. Really? Because we've got problems with both ports. That's the logical deduction. I've just swapped out the 7406. It doesn't make a difference. It's exactly the same. And we know the chips are alright. The CIAs are alright. You get the same behaviour if you swap those around. Those have got to be the wrong way. I need to go and look at some photos. Because looking at the board view, the gender is correct according to the board view. And actually, if, on the 500 plus, this is where this port was on the right. And I think they've retained that layout, but maybe they haven't. Maybe they swapped them around. Maybe this is not the printer. Maybe this is the modem. Or something. I don't know. Yep, you guessed it. Ports around the wrong way. They have to be. They can't. There's no other logical solution here. It's just, if you look at the board overview, granted I'm looking at Rev 1, I'm sure it said 25M here. 25M. Yeah? And then 25F. Maybe I was looking at this side. Maybe I was looking at 23M and 23F. Ah, hang on, that might be what I've done. Yeah, if I was looking at the top side, I might have been looking at these ports here. And then because of that, mind you, yeah, that's right, because then I would have, you see what I'm trying to say, from the edge of the board, I would have gone, oh, it's a male one at the edge. I would have gone, oh, it's a male one at the edge. That's what I think I've done here. It's really that simple. And yeah, I'm getting a bit old, and I can't also remember what serial, which one's serial, which one's parallel. I think that's parallel now. We need pins going in here, not a socket. So that explains why both serial and parallel fail on the test. It's a miracle we didn't destroy anything by that little accident. Anyway, I'm just going to do my best here. In fact, let's just get the desolder station on. I'm going to do it with the desolder station. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going crazy here. It says there M23, male 23. What's that? That's male. Male 23. Those are female. Yeah? You have pins that are male and holes that are female. So this is where I now need to go and reevaluate again, because I've spent ages taking that off, and well, I don't know. I don't know. Hang on a minute, I took the video connector off. No! Oh. Right, I got the video connector back on. Nice and tidy. There is the odd mark though, because I used the desolder pump. Here, I use the desolder station. No damage at all. It's nice and clean. On the silk screen here, it says M25. Male 25. So, that's male. Is that not male? I need to just go check, 'cause, you know, I'm still thinking these are around the wrong way, because we've got faults on the serial port, faults on the parallel port, the CIAs are alright, these are alright, there's nothing else there. You've just got ferrites, that's pretty much it. The 06 we've ruled out, the 07's for the floppy drive, I think. That's it, there's no other active components. There are no resistors, there's no chance for any traces damaged here. And I've checked all the ferrites, just in case one burned out, and yeah, it's unlikely. because of the current rating of them. So, I don't know. Right, yeah, there is a problem here. Maybe the Amiga 1000 had the reverse gender ports, I don't know. But I fitted these according to the marking. That says male 25. That is male 25. This is serial, the serial dongle. Just confirmed that looking at Amiga test kit. The serial port is here, it's marked RS232. So that should go in there. So the genders on these are wrong. That should say F25 and this one here should say M25. So anyway, I'm glad I've just took that off because it did need to come off. It makes me wonder how many of the people have bodged this up. Now, if you've got an actual Amiga 1000 to compare to, maybe the ports are right on that, and you would straight away realise that if you were on the top of your ball in terms of understanding serial and parallel ports, you'll know whether it should be male or female. I can never remember. It's like I've got a complete blind spot for it. I don't know why. 24 hours from now, if someone says, yeah, parallel port on an Amiga, is it male or female? I go, I don't know. I don't know. I need to go look at my Amiga. So anyway, that's all cleaned up. So I need to do the same thing with that and then flip them around. They are wrong. But they're wrong on the silk screen, if you ask me. Unless that there is referring to the actual connector that goes in, male 25. But that would be the most ridiculous thing ever. Yeah, when you mark things on a silk screen, you mark it according to the type of component that goes there, not what is going to connect to it. I can now clean up the trauma. Oh, that was so stressful. That really was. Next time I have to do anything at all in terms of mounting serial and parallel ports, and this is the thing, you think I'd have learnt this lesson from the Archimedes. But, yeah, well, I don't know, this is just a different type of thing. Because I believed the silk screen markings here. I never believed the silk screen markings is the thing, but you know, like, where's you draw the line? For example, where it says Paula, Denise, and Gary. What happens if one of those was wrong? You know, it's like, what do you have to do? Check every single thing. I just think this, perhaps, is not a mistake, but is one of those things where the Amiga 1000 had the wrong gender because it was an early board. I don't know. Right, everything is connected up here. Yeah, I'm confident this should work, I think, for the serial because, well, I checked. Hang on. What's going on? No! Yeah, so the serial port doesn't work, the parallel port doesn't work. I'm getting two new CIAs here. I'm thinking it's killed something on each of the CIAs. Let's get this one in first of all. Hang on. So this is the thing, if this doesn't work now, there's something else going on. Look, same problem. How? How is that possible? Doing my head in this, completely doing my head in. Let's try booting without caches. Maybe there's something crazy going on. The way this board is implemented. How do you do it now? Boot options, disable CPU caches. Use. Boot. I can't see how that would be an issue, but maybe it is. No. Oh, my brain is hurting. Right, let's just take that off. Let's just prove that is the serial port by removing it. Now we should get complete failure because, well, a few of the pins shouldn't be joined up there. I don't know. So, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. We don't even have the loop back in now. It's like this is the serial port or something. I don't know. I'm getting pissed off with this. I've never been so cheesed off with something. So yeah, I am about to smash this board up. I am so fed up with it. I didn't need to do any of the messing here with these ports. The gender was wrong. The gender was wrong, the 1000. Why would you not correct that when you did this board? It's like, alright, it's designed to have exactly the same inputs and outputs as a 1000, but you know what? That was just a borg thing from day one, really, wasn't it? So I need to swap the ports around again. This is just joy, absolute joy. I'm so enjoying working with these ports. While that's heating up, I'm going to desolder these things. Make sure I don't get the video connector this time. God. Will it survive having the ports swapped again? So I have to admit, whilst editing this, I have never laughed so much. The amount of swearing that I cut out, this is ridiculous. Yeah, and there's some lessons to be learned here. If you're going to commit to doing something that's going to take you a long time, that's a lot of work, be really, really, really sure, I can't emphasise how sure, before you commit to starting that work. If I would have just followed one or two of the connections around, like pins 2 and 3, for example, on the serial or the parallel port, I would have come to a conclusion very quickly that, hang on a minute, there's a gender issue with these ports. But that's what I've been talking about for the last 20 minutes here. A gender issue. This is why I swapped the ports around. But gender is more than just, is it a male or female connection? Actually, the pins transpose when you've got the wrong gender socket, which has been designed for that PCB. Right, all cleaned up and back together. No real worse for wear. Gender changer of the parallel port, and we get green lights. I'm not sure I have a gender changer for the serial. I need to go and have a look. If I don't, I'm going to get one, but so I'll just leave that in for now. Yeah, I'm going to leave these on this board. Yeah, I fitted a resistor on the DTAC pin on Gary. 820 ohm in series with the 470 ohm to pull it down to just around 300. I was going for around 330, but it's the nearest I could get. I mean, obviously I could remove it. I think it's one of the resistor array packs somewhere. But the reason I did that is we were occasionally just getting spurious interrupts here, not very many, just like 1 or 2. And you could recreate it just by going in here, doing the CIA timer test, and come out here and it go 1 spurious interrupt. It's not doing it now, so I think that might have solved it. I think because the 030 is running really fast here, DTAC may just need pulling a little bit lower. You know, it's taken ages to come back up, as Stephen Leary explained to me, in relation to the 536. The other odd behaviour here is, see, this is Denise Lisa 00. That changes. See what it shows here. We go in and out of this. Sometimes that changes as well. That's a curious thing. 0000. Sometimes it's just like 0707 or something. It's not doing it now. Anyway, I think that resistor has solved the spurious interrupts I was getting on this. Now, we had them earlier on where we were getting loads, but yeah, after doing all of the rest of the board build, we just ended up with occasionally going in here, you'd get the odd spurious interrupts. And I just figured and remembered about the DTAC that if you just, you know, when you've got a fast CPU like this, you really need to pull it a little bit harder. So only time will tell when I do a bit of testing. Anyway, I'll test a little bit more and report back. I've ordered a gender changer for the serial port. Yeah, it's not doing it at all now. I could recreate that more or less every time before. The interesting thing is that's improved performance. We've got 51.8. I've got a 48 megahertz crystal. Yeah, it's giving me some more MIPS look. But you see, I've seen that before with DTAC. If you get DTAC tuned in just right, then it gets to its optimal performance. So I think there was an issue there. We've got a higher number of dry stones and everything is just a bit faster. 51.8. Let's just do that again. It's interesting, isn't it, the relationship to the clock speed? Yeah, 51.8. I mean, it isn't 50. Hang on, it's dropped now. 48.4. Oh, what the? 51.8 again, look. I don't know, that's a bit weird. It reminds me of some of the behaviour I've seen on the 534, that you can benchmark the drives on the 534 over and over and you get different speeds all the time. It's like you can go 3 meg, 4 meg, 3 meg, 4 meg, 4.7 meg, 2.5 meg on the 534. But generally, the 534 just runs so well. You know, it's a similar, you know, thing to this really, in terms of having a 50 megahertz 030, but on the 534 it does run at 50 stably, solid. And you get the 6882 running at 50 megahertz as well. Anyway, it seems solid. It's curious how that toggles between 48 and 51.8. It might be coinciding with the floppy drive polling. Honestly, can't work that out. Why it varies. Right, I want to get Amber on there, but in a way that allows me to create a prototype for Amber. So, as you can see, I'm just using these offcuts of single pin header, and they're fitting perfectly aligned. So I'll get those in place, put it on the PCB, solder the socket on, yeah, and then the socket will come out at some point. It'll come out this pin header, and I'll be able to plug in my prototyping board or something along those lines. Anyway, it's just a way to do it without committing to having a socket on this board, because that's the thing. It's like it's easy to take Amber out of the socket, yeah, and stick something in, you know, but then you need to design something, don't you? And there is one of those. There's a link down below to the Atari guy. I can't read his name now. He's a really good channel though, check him out. And he's created a number of different upgrades, including an 030 board for the Falcon, Atari Falcon actually, but and the Pi Storm for the ST. But he's got a plug that he developed himself. I might ask him if he's got something in this size here. I think it's 68 pin, isn't it? Because that'd be really cool for the final products, where you could just plug it straight into a socket rather than having to fit this. But this is just going to allow me to plug a PCB in to try and get a replacement Amber. Yeah, and I'm just using, as I say, these offcuts. I've got loads of these little bits. And there we go, one cocket. It's a cross between a socket and a cockle. And surprisingly, that went right in, like perfectly. No issues at all. I thought I was going to struggle trying to get that aligned. I think just because I straightened the pins on the actual socket itself, and then I spent some time getting every single strip perfectly aligned there. You know, I filed down one or two bits just to get them perfectly in place. And there we go, an Amber socket on stilts. So we'll strap on Amber out. Pins are nice and straight, legs are clean. Pin 1 is down here. Now let's get the chip in the socket. There we go. That's Amber in. Just connects everything up. Now to get VGA out of this, I'm going to use the board that you've not seen yet, actually, from the GBA, what's it called, P2++. It'll go into this connector here because it's supposed to pass through that way, I think. Yeah, you can see what I mean here. So here's one I made earlier that you will see in another video. Yeah, and as you can see, I've taken an intermission here and sort through all these cables. So I've got mains type cables here, you know, they've been cut off power supplies and things like that, just mains leads, you know, so live neutral earth, some with plugs on, so those can go in their own bag. USB, look at this pile of USB cables here. These are primarily USB cables from my wife and friends and family that have just been donated. That mostly phone cables, loads and loads of USB cables, iPhone, USB-C, that stopped working, you know, so where you can use them. You tend to find the USB side is alright. So yeah, this is why I keep these. And then I've got a load of power supply type cable here. So this thick gauge stuff here at the bottom is just like 2 core with a shield, I think, which would be alright for a power supply. But it's a bit thick, you know, so for, you know, for headphones and things like that, it would be too thick. And then bits like this from power supplies that have, you know, put a thing around them, so I could use those for, had I had something for moving forward. And then bits from ATX power supplies and things like that. which are always useful. And I'm just keeping all these things, let's say, in their own separate bags from this point on, because it's just easier to manage. And then they can all go in one bag, which will rule them all. So that's that. Hang on, I think I need another bag. I'm nearly out of bags here. Yeah, and these are primarily like multi-core cables. You know, that yellow one is like a LAN cable, but there's loads of multi-core cables here for video leads, audio leads. There's bits of audio leads where I've trimmed off the connectors and made my own, you know, adapter for something in the past. So yeah, these are useful for creating AV leads and sound leads. We've got a floppy connector here. It could be good for something, you know, it's a bit short, but if I was to put a connector back on the end there, that actually could be utilised for something PC related, probably, because it's got a twist in it. Anyway, those are all now sorted. You know, things like that, short video lead, it's got, I don't know, 6 or 7 different things there. This is what I need now for this, really. I could use this bit of cable, actually, thinking about it. I'm just going to have a think about that. I had penciled up this HDMI lead, which again I've used for RGB leads in the past, because, well, they're a bit fiddly to work with, but everything is separately shielded in there. But it's only going to be such a short cable anyway. I think we'll just use that bit that I've just got out and put that in there for future use with another RGB cable. Right, I'm going to start with the VGA side, so it's a female ID here. I think Mark Fixer's stuff may have pointed out the actual technical names for these. People get them wrong, like they say DB9, a DB15, etc. Yeah, and you can see here, I've carefully stripped this back, twisted these single ground strands around each other. Hang on, let's try and get the iron onto this. Add some solder and flux there just to join that all together. There we go, it's like the main common shield, each touches that on the inside. And then we've got black here that's going to be ground. I'm going to do the ground on the VGA connector first. You notice that I melted back quite a long way. I deliberately didn't cut that back very far, but it's still melted back a little bit further than I would like. Anyway, so I'll just trim a tiny bit off. Yeah, so you can see I've done the red and the green there. It's very difficult to hold this in the right place, but yeah, what I'm doing is like pre-tinning the wire, getting it to go into, hang on, down here. This blue is a bit longer than the red and the green were, strangely enough. Well, it's not strange, it's just I didn't cut it back when I got these wires ready. And just because of the way the wires were routed in here, I put the orange and brown actually as grounds along with the grey, and I've kept the violet and the orange here, vertical violet and horizontal orange with a H. Right, that was super annoying to do, so yeah, violet is vertical, orange is horizontal. My grounds are all joined up. I've got some heat shrink on the grounds there, nothing is shorting. There we go. Wonder what was going on there. It didn't seem to be shrinking whatsoever. So those are the concatenated grounds going into the middle section. It's so difficult. The wires are, you know, do make it quite difficult because they're pretty thick. Anyway, it should be alright, I think. Right, that'll do. So according to the documentation that came with GBA 1000, here's the pin out. So on the 8-pin DIN socket, you've got pin 1 ground, 2R, 3G, 4B, a couple more grounds, a H-sync and a V-sync. Right, 4 is in between black and red. You know, when I do cables like this, it really makes me appreciate the people who actually professionally make these and sell them. Like, if I could buy a cable for this now, I would have bought one. Absolutely, outright would have bought one. There's no way I would spend all this time faffing around with this. Right, last one on this crusty job that I've done. Yeah, note to self and to you, do the middle one first. This is pin 8, it's the violet V-Sync, and it's pushed in a fair way. Let's just try and see if we'll go a bit further. But just because it's in the middle, yeah, you see it won't go any further. Yeah, that is it. The orange just got melted back a bit, but everything is alright there. There's no shorts, they're not going to join up. But you really would want heat shrink round those. And what I tend to do is pull this down, the shield here, the extra one, and it will go through the thing there, yeah, so that the hood is grounded. You're better off soldering it somewhere, really. Press them together, press it down. Like that, really. So that ain't going anywhere. That's pretty sturdy. Wires all look good, no shorts. We've got the earth, you know, the ground core around that. We can now get this bit on here, like this, I think. And that's it, we are done. We can just slide this up and over, clip it over there. Yay! That's it, complete. Let's hope I wired it right. Right, so it's plugged in the back here. I've got VGA into VGA. We need to get some pin headers on here, some, what, jumpers is the word I was looking for, not pin headers. Because, just like the video you've not seen yet, the GBA P2 plus something, where the connections come out and back in via this connector here. So you've got to jumper the red, the green, the blue, the H and the V. So I'll go and get my jumpers. And I know you can't really see what I'm doing here, and I never thought I'd be saying this, but I'm going to need to order some new jumpers soon. I never thought I'd ever run out of jumpers, but I've been using jumpers that much recently. So looking at the manual, it's like miss the first one, and then jumper the next one, and then the next one. You've got red, green, blue in a line there, so you know, miss the first one, then red, green, blue. There we go. So it's miss one, 1, 2, 3, miss one, 1, 2. Make sure there's nothing shorting anywhere there isn't. Switch it on. See what happens. Hang on a minute, it helps if the monitor's on. I mean, that said analog, so I actually think we might have some sort of connection there. But it's probably going to need dialing in. That's if it's working. And actually it's booted from the card, so we would, oh, well, there we go, it works. It works. I haven't even dialed it in. And we have scan doubled VGA, and that looks pretty blooming good as it is, isn't it? I'm so pleased. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Amber is doing her thing. Of course, we need to test it with interlaced. Let's load Agony, because, well, that's one of those games. And you can see, even though I used that cable, it wasn't really fully separately shielded, you know, with the cores. It's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. But if you were going to go with a really long extension, yeah, you might want to invest in better cable. The impedance of the cable and having separate shields around the red, green and blue, and maybe around the H and V is what you want. I can't get over how crystal clear that is. That is just absolutely phenomenal. It really is. Bear in mind we've got no sound, because the sound comes out the phonos, and the phonos are obviously connected to the TV. Hang on, I could switch the TV on, you can hear the sound through that then. Wow, that looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's like crystal clear, totally stable. It's incredible though that I haven't done any adjustments to it, like none. I didn't move the Vero resistor, I haven't moved the cap. It's pretty much perfect as it is. Yeah, so I did auto set, which has centralised the picture. That's just a feature on this monitor. I'll hit fire. I'm using the Mega Multi from James at Retro HQ. That is just amazing. Don't even need to adjust it. It needs no adjustment. What are the odds of that? Didn't need to adjust the resistor or the cap. It's just spot on. There's no flicker, there's no instabilities, there's no nothing. It's just amazing. There we go. It's working. That is just incredible. I'm not sure if this screen mode here is interlaced. I think it's just the tile screen on this game. We'll check Alien Breed out and see what that looks like as well, because the tile screen on that's interlaced. I can just hold down fire because I think I've got auto fire enabled on this. Yeah, if you haven't seen the Mega Multi videos, there's 2 of them. Check out the links down below. Phew, well, we just got that. It's like increased firepower, isn't it? It's a bit congested, this area. The interesting thing, coming back to the RAM as well, the line RAM for these, I think at the moment I've got NTSC RAM fitted because that's what it tells you to fit in the bill of materials. But it's a PAL machine. Well, is it PAL? I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know how. Well, I've got a PAL Agnes. When I say a PAL Agnes, you can switch to NTSC when you boot it. It's just not clear to me the difference between the PAL and the NTSC line RAMs. I think the NTSC one just holds more pixels, but so maybe you've got the best of both worlds if you fit that, and maybe that's why the bill of materials suggests that. I don't know. Anyway, there's no issues with that RAM. But I have got some of the PAL RAM just in case I have to repair anything else a bit like Tom Meads' scan double, or you know, a 3000 or something at some point, a PAL one perhaps, because they do have different RAM on them regionally, I think. I mean, maybe the 3000 doesn't, maybe it's just some of the third party scan doubles have the different region of RAM. I don't think I've played this well ever. This is the Mega Drive pad doing this. I'm probably not going to get much further. Probably jinxed it by saying this is the best I've done. And I think because we're using the Mega Multi, I can probably press the B button. Yeah, I can, look. And you get like I don't know, magic you can do at various points, like, you know, your special weapon, take out bosses and things, or a screen of enemies. Oh, that nearly got me. I'm glad those sit at the bottom. I thought they disappeared when they hit the bottom. Do you know, I think we've got a boss coming up. I've seen Jamie Morgan play this a lot. Look at my firepower now. Oh, phew. Yeah, we got a boss here. No, I haven't got anything to use as a power up. Wow, that's a bit relentless, isn't it? It's like the bullets and the, oh my goodness, things stop you from hitting it. That's the problem. You've got to get pretty close. Oh, well, there you go. I'll beat it. If it could have just lasted a second longer there, I would have done that. I have never seen that screen before when I've played this. It's amazing. I always say that when I play this, the artwork on this game is amazing. Different music as well. So apologies, you're at a slight angle there. Let's just go into prefs. So we'll go high res laced. I've only got 4 modes here on this compact flash card, strangely enough. So I'll choose use. Yeah, perfect. No flickering, flickers fixed. That is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm going to go back to PAL high-res again. Just because I prefer the larger, you know, icons and things like that generally. Let's try Alien Breed. I mean, I've got no reason to believe there'd be a problem because everything just looks great, doesn't it? One problem that I have got with this at the moment that I still need to resolve. I mean, there's still a few components to go on. I need some 220 microfarad tantalums yet. Waiting for the battery holder so the battery that can then go on. And well, we got some resistor arrays coming, but you know, you saw me chop a few up. think there were just 2 that I did that with, so maybe I should swap those out, proper ones. I don't know, maybe I should leave the chopped ones on. Yeah, but sometimes when you start it, see that? Bad workbench arguments. Something to do with the driver, you know, the hard disk. It could be because I'm using LIDE, it could be because I'm using an old version of LIDE. It could also be the fact we've got HC688 on there, 7F521, but I don't think that would do it, because it's just the address selection. Just for the address decoding there, so I can't imagine that causing it, but it'd be interesting to see if that does make a difference when the 521 arrives. Yeah, it's looking perfect. Absolutely crystal clear, perfect. And I think this next screen might be interlaced as well. You always get that pause there, regardless of CPU speed. Does that on an 060? Yeah, it looks perfect. Fantastic. And trying a later version of LIDE for the AT bus, 2.769 meg now. It's got faster. I just want to see if that solves the problems with the bad arguments loading WHD load games occasionally when it warms up. But also, the first, the actual executable, or whatever it is, doesn't always appear in the WHD load folder. So in other words, I can go into, I don't know, let's find Cadaver, for example. And it's usually when it's warmed up it does it, and it gets worse the warmer it is. See that there? That I can execute. Often when it's warm, you can come in here and that won't be missing. Everything else is there, and I'm like, where's the main thing to launch it? And you go out, you close the folder, go back in, and then usually it's there. But as it gets warmer, it gets harder and harder and harder to find that first entry. So I don't know. Let's just see. Is that any different? Yeah, that's launched. So I will report back. I'm hoping that his update though might fix that. Those 2 issues. It looks fantastic. Yeah, so there's still another part or 2, hopefully maybe 1, I'm not too sure yet, there's quite a lot of footage left. We're almost there. There's still some issues though. We still haven't really dealt with the floppy LED issue. The non-maskable interrupts, spurious interrupts, we solved that with that DTAC resistor. It was really unfortunate that I spent so long messing around with Serihell Parahell ports, yeah, so lesson learned there. Do be 100% sure before you commit to doing something that's going to take you a long period of time. Do some checks, simple checks with connectivity on your multimeter before you start removing sockets and things. It's amazing the scan doubler just worked without any adjustment. A huge thanks to Conrad for sending the board to start with. I didn't mention that at the start of this particular video, but I've mentioned him a few times throughout this series. I couldn't have built this without, the donation of this board from Conrad. Massive thanks to Live2 for the LIDE ROM. You saw 2.7 meg per second. It's really rocketing along with the IDE. Anyway, I do hope you found the video interesting. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the Ko-fi and Patreon links down below. Please consider giving the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll catch you in the next part.